What makes a perfect sequel? The Devil Wears Prada 2 is one of the most hyped releases of 2026, with the 2006 original such a quotable classic.
Morals for spring. Groundbreaking.
It's essentially part of the lexicon. However, cinematic history has shown that just because the first movie was a classic, there's no guarantee the sequel will follow suit. We're gonna break down what makes a perfect sequel and whether or not The Devil Wears Prada 2 makes the cut. Making a movie sequel is a little bit like the curse of the second album, and it's even more pressure when it's been decades since the original. These legacy sequels always come with lovers and haters. Everyone has an opinion, the hardcore fan eyebrows are up, and expectations are sky high. And to be real, though the list of the successful year gap sequels is long, Top Gun Maverick, Blade Runner 2049, Mad Max Fury Road, a lot of them have people divided. Tron Ares, Gladiator 2, The Matrix Resurrections. It's a lucrative move, capitalizing on fandom and existing IP, and it doesn't always land. To be clear, Freakier Friday was a delight. Now in 2026, The Devil Wears Prada, the 2006 comedy that made all of us want to be fashion journalists, that's me, hi, that's me. It has a sequel, and honestly, it's the perfect legacy sequel. In fact, everything we loved about the 2006 original is not just present here, but it finds reinvention. The sharp comedy, the glossy fashion tone, runways, closet, celebrity cameos, and of course, Meryl Streep destroying editorial staff. But what makes a successful sequel, and why do I want Miranda Priestly to step on my neck? These are two questions, one of which we'll be diving into here. The other is for me only. Part 1, get the band back together. First things first, a strong sequel begins with respect for the original's core elements, the themes, the characters, and the tone. And if you're lucky, you'll bring back the original gang, and not just the cast, the director, the production team, the writer. And The Devil Wears Prada does all of this. Director David Frankel and writer Aline Brosh McKenna both return, as do all the original leads. Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Stanley Tucci, Emily Blunt. These are the people who we're here to see. I'm not out here watching Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford, Beetlejuice without Michael Keaton, Twister without Helen Hunt. The performances here are everything you want. Meryl Streep slips back into Miranda's Valentinos, delivering those withering glares and ruinous reads. It's beautiful. Anne Hathaway returns to her earnest Andy roots wholeheartedly. She's no longer a naive newcomer who can't spell Gabbana, but now she's a serious investigative journalist. Stanley Tucci is sublime as Nigel, Runway's charming art director, who we all want to work with and who dresses down people as rudely as Miranda. And Blunt's Emily just remains serving Kurt in Dior. There would be no film without the cast, and plenty of sequels don't luck out with a completely returning ensemble. And the film actually rights some of the wrongs of the original, like there's 20-year grudges buried here. Like a moment between Miranda and Nigel, we've been waiting for that. He deserves it. Anyway, Brosh McKenna's sharp script perfectly mirrors the tone of her original. Quotes from Devil Wears Prada launched 1,000 reaction gifs, and they've also just entered conversation. By all means, move at a glacial pace. You know how it thrills me. Like, this is just what we say to each other now, I think. The sequel has its fair share of one-liners, but like Miranda telling Andy to, again, by all means, help yourself to standards. Nigel tells of Andy's arrival.
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
May the bridges I've burned light my way. These quotes, we all wait around for Miranda to dismiss people with her, that's all. Just like students from Springfield Elementary, but the script makes additions that are fresh and make sense for the characters. Watching Meryl Streep spit out the word bum bag is just completely worth the ticket price. That's where fashion's gone, apparently. Part 2, reinvent the world of the original. Of course, the cast thrives with top-tier production, with a team who know their audience and their craft. The Devil Wears Prada cinematographer Florian Ballhaus is also back for the sequel, as is production designer Jess Gonshaw and costume designer Molly Rogers, who both worked on the original. And with art director Robert Guerra and set decorator Regina Graves, the team refreshes the world of Runway and the 2000s New York it thrived in. Ballhaus's cinematography not only honors his style from the original, but it references it directly. The new film's opening sequence is nearly identical to the original film, from Andy's whole teeth brushing scene to sweeping shots of New York City, the center of media. References to the original are abundant. You'll be Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme all through it. Some are subtle, like the Central Park vendor selling seemingly identical cerulean belts. I said seemingly! And some are overt. Runway's Met Gala style benefit being themed spring florals.
Groundbreaking.
Those Motorola Razr V3s and T-Mobile sidekicks have been replaced with Samsung's latest Galaxy smartphones, because The Devil Wears Prada was made a year before the launch of the first iPhone. The Jamiroquai on the soundtrack makes way for Lady Gaga and Doechii, though of course Madonna's Vogue makes the requisite appearance. You've got to have it. You have to have it. Plus Andy's ultra page boy cap vibe from the 2000s gets a whole nod from the costume department. The key element here is that The Devil Wears Prada is aware of its fans' nostalgia, but it doesn't like over-rely on it. It's not a trebuchet of fan service looking at you, Scream 6. It's more of an if you know kind of deal. Part 3, acknowledge the times. Acknowledge them. In The Devil Wears Prada 2, it's clear that the industry we meet Runway in is not the same. You've likely noticed that journalism has changed in the last 20 years since The Devil Wears Prada, and Ugly Betty, and The Bold Type, and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, all distilled the profession into a glamorous pop cultural moment. These movies and TV shows reflected the industry's optimism. Remember optimism. Rom-coms told us that the it girls were all journalists, including The Devil Wears Prada, which consistently repeats the idea that thousands of girls would kill for Andy's job. Now, legacy media has, of course, transformed with the internet. It's a world of scrapped budgets, mass layoffs, and all hail to the metrics. It's our present world. It's my daily life. And writer Bosch McKenna goes unexpectedly hard championing the value of journalism in The Devil Wears Prada 2. It's quite unexpected.
The technology has exploded, and the idea of a physical magazine, well, unclear what that even is at this point. And so, you know, showing how magazine world has changed, but also really the economic circumstances that not just are the businesses we're talking about in this movie, but the whole world. I don't need to tell you, like the downward pressure of how do we make money? How do we monetize? How does everything has to pull its weight financially now in a way that I feel was certainly not the case when I was growing up.
So when we meet Andy for the first time in 20 years, she's built a career in investigative journalism. She's in Annie Hall-inspired fashion, not the lilac corduroy business of the original. And we find her at the New York Press Club Journalism Awards, where her entire editorial team is fired by text, which uncomfortably mirrors too many newsrooms gutted by top-down layoffs in the recent years, honestly. It's awkward. But how are we gonna get Andy back in the door of the extremely stressful publisher she left 2 decades ago? Would you go back? Well, Andy needs a position, and Runway needs some good PR. Miranda Priestly still reigns as editor-in-chief in the magazine's digital era, so there's plenty of room for commentary on this pivot from print to digital. Thanks to her new Gen Z Emily Andy assistant, Amari, played by Simone Ashley, she's very slightly toned down her signature shade. Progressive labor laws, damn you! However, she's the internet's villain du jour after covering a fast fashion brand linked to sweatshop conditions. It's called speed fash, so the clues were there? Andy gets hired, Miranda doesn't love it, and the power dynamic between them reverts to muscle memory. Miranda waiting for Andy to fail, Andy determined to be successful and not fail, whatever the impossible task is. And there's no secret Harry Potter task this time, but there's something more editorial. Sure, it's competency porn, watching these women at the top of their game, but it's a logical, funny, smart way to expand on Miranda and Andy's stories. Of course, this is where we would find them in 2026. The Devil Wears Prada 2 follows the threads left in the original to a believable present, which makes it, legacy sequel, gold. The Devil Wears Prada 2 captures the tone, wit, and style of the original and makes the need for a sequel make sense. And there's plenty of legacy sequels in production. Legally Blonde 3, Practical Magic 2, The Princess Diaries 3, and Hathaway is busy. Will these updates be able to capture the magic of the originals? What's your favorite legacy movie sequel? Let us know your thoughts on The Devil Wears Prada 2 in the comments. And if you enjoy a cheeky deep dive or a video essay into your favorite films and TV shows, check out How It Hits.